What up, besties? And hi, if you're new here, my name's Nash. I like to read and talk about all things books. And in today's video, I'm going to give you my unfiltered, raw thoughts on The Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is book 6 of the Blood and Ash series. And I have quite a bit of thoughts. And if you want to see more bookish videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you can be notified every time I post. Let's get into the video. Of course, I'm going to start with the pros before I get into the cons, but I will say I genuinely love this world and every single one of these characters, from Poppy to Kat, Reaver, Kieran, Delano, Kieran's sister. Like, I literally love all of these characters so much, and the world that she has created, the love, the devotion, the found family, all of those things are truly incredible and still hold up in this book. I did also like where the story is going and the plot progression. I absolutely loved the intertwining of the other series, the Flesh and Fire series with Seraphina and Nyktos, as well as Fall of Ruin and Wrath, which is book 1 in the New Awakening series. We get appearances from Thorn. I genuinely loved that. I thought that part was executed so well. I do still love the magic, the abilities. I love that we're getting to learn new abilities or new things that are happening that have never been done before. I think that is also super interesting and kept me on the edge of my seat when it came to what can they really do. Now, I will say that is where my good thoughts end on this book. Now, those are very powerful good thoughts. I will say that. But my cons, let's get into those. I do feel like this book fell a little off the mark. A lot of it felt like nothing was really happening in the story. Poppy was unconscious for the first good chunk of this story. And I did not enjoy that. You know what I mean? I was like, we want her back. We want to know what's going on. And yes, we still get some in this book, but I don't want to go too much into it or give spoilers or anything like that. But the fact that she was not a key player in the first chunk of the story really irritated me, especially after book 5, A Soul of Ash and Blood, where she was literally asleep the entire book. We get a redo of book 1 from Castiel's POV, which in my opinion was absolutely unnecessary and nobody asked for. I want a fresh book with current things happening from Castiel's POV. I do really enjoy that we get Castiel's POV in this book. I love hearing his inner monologue and how his brain really works, and hearing through the audiobook the true devotion that he has for her. But I did not need to read from Blood and Ash over again from Castiel's POV with little snippets of new stuff in there. That book actually pissed me off. And this one did also kind of have that same filler vibe to it, which I wasn't really a fan of, being that we had to wait so long. One, the book got pushed back and it's even longer than expected, which didn't really feel necessary to me. I do truly love Reaver's character. He is so funny and I genuinely love him down. His banter with Kieran is to die for. And if there was some kind of relationship between them, I would not be mad. I know there are some shippers. I'm not going to get into that. I love me some Reaver. I also generally wasn't a fan of Poppy's vibe in this book. I know that, she's doing her thing. She's got her reasons, but I don't know if I necessarily like the directions she's taking. And in that same vein, Castiel, like, I get it, but I also don't know if I'm happy about it because that's my baby. And I don't want him going through the things that he's going through. Him and Kieran, their relationship really feels like it's on the rocks in this book. And it absolutely shouldn't be. I really feel like Kieran and Poppy and Cass, that whole situation is a giant miscommunication trope. Like, you could literally have a conversation with your brother and it would be square. You could literally sit down, all three of you, and have a conversation about what the issue is and be done with it. But you want to pout and be in your feelings, and that didn't feel very Castiel. And on the topic of Kieran and his presence, he was not in this book. He was barely there. There was hints of him throughout the story, which also royally pissed me off because I love Kieran. I love his banter. I love the dynamic that he brings to the story and to the world. So him being missing pretty much this entire book absolutely got on my nerves because I'm like, okay, where's Kieran? And then he would pop up and then it would be some shit with Cass. And it's like, you guys need to stop. You're brothers and you guys are really irritating me right now because it's absolutely unnecessary. Y'all could talk it out for real. Just have a seat, have a little tea party, and ask Poppy why the hell she said that, and you would be square. Another thing that I didn't expect to feel about this book is that it felt very lust forward. Poppy and Castiel are already well in love. They're married. They're literally together, madly in love. So why does it feel like she's just fawning after him? I don't know how to really explain that because it wasn't spice. I love the spice between them, which did happen a lot more frequently. There were a lot of sexual innuendos that felt very out of place for the moment. I get it. The witty banter. Castiel always got something sexual to say, but I don't know. It just felt less like, oh, I love you and I just genuinely want to devour you. And it felt like, oh, I just want to You know what I mean? I don't really know. It didn't really rub me the wrong way, but I wasn't also giddy kicking my feet like I normally am when it comes to Castile and Poppy's banter. Overall, what I will say is I still enjoyed this book. Again, I love the world and the characters, which is carrying this series for me so far, especially after the last two books. But I am still interested to see what's going to happen in the rest of the series, how this is all going to wrap up, how Fall of Ruin and Wrath is going to tie into this. So I will be continuing to read it. Also, before I get into anything else, the audiobook. I genuinely think that's one of my biggest gripes with this book and series so far is that is not my Castile Denier. No shade to the narrators, but I just did not feel like those were my Poppy and Cass. Poppy, I could have got away with a little more. I was okay with her. It wasn't too bad. But when it came to Castile Denier, that was not my Castile. And I think that was one of the things that drove me away from the story a little bit because that did not sound like my man to be punching holes through people's bodies, if I'm being completely frank. I do think maybe the graphic audio will be different. I don't know. I haven't listened to that one, but just a standard audiobook, I was not necessarily a fan of. This book had me very conflicted. Will I still continue the series? Yes, I will. I gave this book a 3.75 because did I love the story? Yes, but I'm not going to give it a 4 star when I have so many cons or things that I wasn't particularly fond of in the story. So a 3.75 it is. If you stayed this entire video, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.